those bids? If not, all those in favor, signify by raising your hand. This time then we'll entertain visitors. Mark Heiss.
I'm here to see about closing the street off for Memorial Day, Patton Street, and possibly Highway 27, to do a music festival, and I would like to make it an annual event.
You gonna close the square?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had talked about doing it for 3 consecutive days, but we decided just to do it the one day, just the Saturday, and kind of see how it goes. And we would like to see the Freedom Festival be moved to the square. That's some point.
It would be impossible.
You don't have the power, I
Yeah,
mean,
we
there's
don't
no
have
way you
enough
can
outlets.
accommodate the power.
Not, since we put in all the posts and all the lights and all, there's not power there
That's a lot of
to do
power.
it.
I mean, I'm open for any suggestion anyone has, but I don't know how to, and that's a large crowd too. How are you gonna view fireworks from the square?
Talk about doing it from the old LaFayette High School football field, and that way you could see them, and it would be a benefit to the merchants on the square. It would get business downtown. I think it would be good for the city. It might get some interest in doing things downtown.
We'll look at
What kind of hours for the Memorial Day Festival are you looking?
Probably from noon till 10:30, 11 o'clock, something like that, depending on how long it goes. We'd like to see it go at least till dark. Depending on how many bands we bring in, it'll be what.
Are you
we'll
planning
determine
to
the
set
time.
up a stage somewhere?
Yes, we'd like to set up a stage at the end of Patton Street, right here in front of the courthouse. And then that way we would kind of have a gradual incline coming down to the stage and people far back could see. And by closing the square off, we'd like to bring in vendors for that. And then let them be in, and then maybe they'll get them walking around the square and see what businesses are there and what they have to offer.
We have a legal right to close 27.
We have to apply for a permit through
We have to
DOT,
request,
DOT has to approve it.
and they have to approve it.
we do it for parades. We
Well,
do
I
it for
know we
those
was talking about
cruising.
closing for 2 or 3 days and so forth.
Oh,
No, just
well,
one day,
now
just
we
one
can
day for
talk-
the Memorial Day.
For this, well, I don't know if you could close 27 for 12 hours.
Well, we do close the 27th Scarrow Square,
Right.
but that's only from, say, 5 in the afternoon to 8 o'clock or 8:30, something like that.
Right.
It doesn't matter how long you close it, as long as, number one, DOT requires that we put enough police officers up there to make sure there's no backup in traffic, so there's adequate detours around the square, not to interfere with regular traffic. And we generally do that like Scarrow Square or any other function we have in downtown. The only other issue is that it's going to take more manpower if we close it down for that long. And that's an issue in regard to overtime and all that other stuff that goes along with that.
How does that relate to what we're paying now?
Yeah, nothing that we do. Mark, who's we?
Josh just came in, it's,
Downtown merchants, pretty much.
right, downtown
Y'all
Merchants.
want to do it?
Mhm. We'd like to see something to get people down on the square and to help bring in business.
Let's let them try it and see. If you're just doing a Saturday, we'll see how it goes. You know, but we've had those,
So you're gonna do it this Saturday of Memorial Day
Right.
weekend?
Right.
The only thing I'm going to need is a definite date on it and a set times when y'all want to start, so I can petition DOT for us to close 27. And of course, us and the street department have to blockade everything off and set up the appropriate manpower that it's going to take to keep traffic flowing in and around it. So
May the 28th.
May the 20th.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and do this. Like I said, I think the chief go ahead and get permission from the state.
I think it's a good thing. I mean, we've done car, they've had car shows up there and things, and it's worked out pretty good.
We'll take all the volunteers when you get to.
Okay.
I'll second the motion. I like the idea. Hopefully DOT, I don't know how they'll do with that length of time, but
I don't think it's gonna be a problem. They're pretty accommodating as long as we take care of the traffic needs in and around the area. It really doesn't matter.
it'd be nice, it'd also be nice if, you know, you could get the word out or some sort of signage to, you know, kind of let
Yeah,
people know
We're gonna
so
do
they
it.
can plan ahead for the traffic
I
issue.
hadn't started advertising because we hadn't come here and got permission to do it. I wanted to do that before I started advertising.
If the bypass wasn't around Lafayette, it may be a huge issue, but with the bypass we have now, I don't think it's gonna be a huge problem with DOT.
So you do good? We get, I second it, and we'll, what was the hours you set up until about?
We'd like to start at 12 o'clock, and we would like to go, I mean, it's gonna be based on how many bands that we have.
12 to 12.
At 12.
Yeah, I'd like to say 12 to 12 to be safe. I think the nighttime part of it, if it's particularly in
I
the
won't
fall.
say 11.
Yeah,
'Cause I
the
can
hours
hear-
aren't, you get up at,
I
yeah,
can hear it from my house.
the residents from a lot, I don't think I'd worry about is if you get into the later hours, some of the residents on Duke Street, because the band's gonna have amplification. That's the only thing I'd like to see 10 or
I think 11 o'clock.
10 or 11.
People, you know, one day you can do with the noise for a little while.
Hey, if we have people here from 12 to 11, I think it's a great thing.
If we have one here at midnight, I think it's an
I
awesome.
think it's a great thing. I'm happy. Oh, I agree, but I know there will be some folks.
It's a good idea. Patty, we shoot fireworks at 10, that's usually dark,
It's usually
and then
close.
they're usually out of there by 11, and then y'all clean up by 12, so.
12 and 1 or 2 the next day. 12 the next day.
I see the sun coming up, I don't know about you.
That's
Melvin, you gonna put a band in?
Oh, yeah. One-man band.
One man band.
Okay, we got a motion and a second then to allow them to try this festival, whatever, Memorial Day, Band Day, whatever you like to call it. It's appropriate. All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Okay. Thank you very much. If you will, check with, the electric department for hookups or power or see, I don't know how much they would have to do. They may have to do some drops or something like they do at the rec. I mean, wherever you're gonna put up your main bandstand, you might need some power, that's what I'm thinking. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, with that, then we'll move to new business. We just had a meeting about the audit and how we barely scraped by last year. I guess we just need to say that we went through that session and approved that audit.
Need a motion? Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Yes, questions? Item 2, One Georgia grant for the airport terminal. Looking for a $500,000 grant.
It's pretty much, we've already got pretty much half the grant. We just need authorization to, from the council to submit the grant application. Bid of $500,000 with a match of $200,000, but it can be comprised of cash or in-kind labor, which means we do some of the labor in kind, meaning we don't have to pay the cash on
Can we
it.
do all of it in kind?
They want some cash.
Yeah, they don't,
They
$300,
want
$400?
more than that, but, you know, the fact we own the land already, they told us we can count that as part of the cash. That's 19,400, I believe, so.
No cash.
You're right.
and,
In kind is something we can come up with.
right. And volunteer labor, in kind, you know, some of the work that we do, and, some of the volunteer labor that, you know, maybe some of the people that, at the airport, there's a couple of people down there that I'm sure they really like, you know, working towards having a better building, a better airport altogether. Some of them on the airport committee, so.
Several of them have given letters of commitment to that.
I missed the last committee meeting, so you may have been no more than I did. I was out sick. I'll make that in the form of a motion that we authorize.
Now, this is the second thing. Last year we applied for it, hoping we'd get the whole thing right. This is our second attempt to get it.
No, what we did last year was a pre-application.
This is,
and
We
had-
got it, and we need to, we need to put in for it, and we've got it.
On the One Georgia
Yeah.
branch, you send in a pre-application, they review that and tell you if it's approved, then you can apply for the grant. If they don't
I
approve
talked
it,
to a guy last year in Savannah about this at the airport. And he applied at that time for it.
it was a
Pre-application.
pre-application.
it's regional because it's,
So we're looking at 40%.
We applied, doesn't necessarily mean we will get it.
No, the pre-application was to determine whether this project can potentially be eligible for a grant, and so they said, yes, you
Will
are
be eligible.
conditionally eligible if you partner with your joint development authority and a whole bunch of stuff, but we made it through that hurdle, so this is the full-blown application.
Well, let's go for it, see what happens. I second the motion. Okay.
Now, about the money.
I don't know when it'll be due.
What's that?